You ever just stop and think about why you picked one brand over another? Like, what really goes on in our heads? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take a journey right into our own minds to figure out the psychology of why we buy things. And then we'll flip the script and see how companies use that exact same knowledge to build their entire strategy. All right, let's get into it. So, kick things off. Let's get personal. Think about a really big purchase you've made. Let's say a car, the last car you bought. Why that one? Seriously, was it the slick color, the 5-star safety rating, or maybe a buddy just wouldn't shut up about how great his was? What was the one thing that pushed you over the edge? Just hold that thought. We're about to unpack the hidden machinery behind that decision. Every single marketer in the world would love to be a fly on the wall inside our brains. And in their world, that mysterious, invisible space where we make our decisions, well, it actually has a name. They call it the buyer's black box. It's where all the magic happens, or maybe where all the marketing either works or it doesn't. So, what is this black box? Think of it like a processing unit. You've got all these inputs flying at you. You see an ad, your friend gives you some advice, you glance at a price tag. All that stuff goes in. Then, inside your mind, something happens, and an action comes out. You either buy it or you don't. It's that invisible bridge between what a company says and what you ultimately do. So, what's rattling around inside this box? Well, this slide breaks it down perfectly. And you can see it's not just one thing. It's more like a complex cocktail of influences. First, you've got your individual factors, things like your age, your lifestyle, and yeah, your income. That's what sets the budget for a car, right? Then there's the social stuff, what your friends drive, what your family thinks is important, even your broader culture. That stuff weighs on you. And finally, there are the psychological drivers, the deep down stuff. Your need for safety, your desire for adventure, or maybe just wanting to feel a little bit of status. All of this combines to shape how you see every single brand out there. Okay, so once all those factors start swirling around in that black box, the decision itself doesn't just poof, happen instantly. Turns out, whether you're buying a Lamborghini or a latte, you're probably following a pretty predictable path. Let's walk through those steps. And here it is, that 5-step journey. It all kicks off with need recognition. That moment you think, my old car is a piece of junk. Then you jump into information search. You're on Google, you're reading reviews, you're asking your dad what he thinks. Step 3 is evaluation of alternatives. You know, the fun part, test driving a few different cars. Then comes the big moment, the purchase decision. But here's the kicker, it doesn't stop there. Step 5 is post-purchase behavior. That's the feeling you get after you've driven off the lot. Are you thrilled? Or is there this little nagging voice in your head asking, did I make the right choice? That feeling, by the way, has a name. It's called cognitive dissonance, and it's a huge part of the experience. But let's be real, you don't agonize this much over every little thing you buy, and this chart here shows why. It all comes down to involvement. For something like salt, low involvement, not many differences between brands, you just grab it. That's habitual buying. You don't think about it. But for something like a car, that's a huge deal. It's high involvement, there are massive differences between the brands, and the stakes are high. That puts you squarely in that top right box, extensive decision-making. You're going to use all 5 of those steps because, well, it really, really matters. Okay, so that's how one person makes one decision. Pretty complex, right? But now think about it from the company's perspective. How on earth does a giant car company plan for millions of people, all with their own messy, unique black boxes? It seems impossible. Well, let's flip the camera around and see how they tackle that exact problem. So how do they do it? Simple. They don't try to sell to everybody. That's the secret. The very first thing a smart company does is slice up that huge, chaotic market into smaller, neater groups. This is the first step in a really powerful framework that marketers live by, called STP. And that first step, the S in STP, stands for market segmentation. The core idea here is something we've all heard before. You can't be everything to everyone. It's just impossible. So instead, the goal is to identify these smaller groups or segments of people who have similar needs or want similar things. It's all about finding your potential tribe, hiding in the massive crowd. So how do they actually slice and dice the market? Well, here are a few of the main ways. They can go demographic, which is stuff like age, income, family size, targeting young families. They can go geographic, Makes sense to sell more SUVs in places that get a ton of snow, right? They can also get psychographic, which is all about lifestyle and personality, appealing to the thrill seekers and the adventurers. Or they can get behavioral and focus on the specific benefits people are looking for, like customers who value safety above everything else. All right, so once the company has this map of all the different segments, what's next? Well, the next two steps are all about picking a spot on that map and planting your flag. It's time to aim. This is the T and P of our framework: targeting and positioning. So, targeting. This is basically the moment of choice. It's the act of aiming for the bullseye. The company looks at all those different segments they just identified, and they decide which one, or maybe two, looks the most promising. They're asking themselves a really important question. Which of these tribes can we connect with the best and, build a real business around? And honestly, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? You can't be everything to everyone, but you can be something special to someone. That is the absolute soul of targeting. You're not trying to get a tiny sliver of attention from the entire world. You're trying to become absolutely essential to a smaller group of people who are going to love what you do. Okay, so you've picked your target. Now, how do you make sure they pick you? That's positioning. This is all about the real estate you occupy inside your customer's mind. It's not just about your product's features, it's about what your brand means. When they think of you, what's the one word that comes to mind? Are you the safe one, the luxurious one, the smart value one? You have to define that space. And marketers love to visualize this stuff. They literally draw it out on what's called a positioning map. Imagine a big graph. On one axis, let's put price, going from economy all the way up to luxury. And on the other axis, let's put something like quality or performance, going from practical to, super high performance. And once you have that map, you can see where everyone fits. Down in the low price, practical corner, that's your reliable, budget-friendly sedan. Way up in the high price, high performance corner, that's where your Ferraris and Lamborghinis live. But look at this other spot. A company could totally carve out a unique space for itself. Maybe they position their SUV not as the fastest, but as the safest family car out there. That's a very specific kind of high quality, and it speaks directly to the heart of their target audience. But here's the thing. A company can't just decide, we are the safe option, and call it a day. They have to prove it, they have to live it. This final part is all about action, how they actually bring that strategy to life and drill that identity into our minds. So, if a car company is all in on owning the idea of safety, then every single thing they do has to scream safety. Their commercials on TV, they're going to show happy families, not a car tearing up a racetrack. Their PR team, they're going to be fighting for those top safety pick awards. Their website will have blog posts about, family road trip tips. And on social media, they're not partnering with race car drivers. They're partnering with popular parent influencers. See? Every single touch point is hammering home that one single consistent message. And that brings us right back to where we started. It all connects. The entire marketing playbook, all that segmenting, targeting, and positioning stuff, it's all built on one thing: a deep, fundamental understanding of us, the consumer. The how they sell is a direct answer to the why we buy. You can't have one without the other. They are two sides of the exact same coin. So, I guess the real question is, the next time you're watching TV and a car ad comes on, are you going to see it the same way? Now you can ask yourself, okay, who are they really talking to here? What spot are they trying to own in my brain? Because now you know the playbook. You can see the strategy behind the story. Thanks for coming along for this breakdown.